We are back. Another episode of Chef's Kiss. Sheffield Shuffler, John LaLogia here, giving you all the latest information on sports, baseball, and current events. What's up, John?
Petey, my man.
Dude,
Old school Randall Cunningham Eagles hat. That's what I would refer to that as.
That's right, baby. I love that old Birds logo. It's clean, right?
It's nice.
It's a clean
black
logo.
and green works real well. It just does.
And it goes well with this shirt. It says fly or die. And obviously the snake, what is that? That represents like the don't tread on me, Philadelphia, United States, it's whatever. But it's got all the players in there.
Love it. It's great, man.
Yep. Can't rep Philly's shit right now because they suck. So
they're not they're not good. But yeah, man. Speaking of the Phillies, want to dive into a couple things that have happened this week. So
I wanted to ask you real quick, John, have you tried this Prime? This is Logan Paul's drink. Are you cool enough to drink that or no?
Is Logan Paul cool enough to drink that?
So I didn't want to, I don't like supporting him.
What is it, an energy drink?
It's a hydration drink. They do have energy drinks, but they come in cans. This is
hilarious. This is my dad worked for a beer distributorship for years, and he would just come home and hawk just like a bunch of these different types of like hydration. I mean, they were alcohol based, but also hydrate you at the same time.
Sure, yeah, piss water, right?
Kinda. Is it good?
Americans like beer. I haven't tried it. That's why I was going to try it right now.
Try it. Let's get a taste test. Let's see what it tastes like.
This one's called Meta Moon. So I'm taking a little sabbatical from drinking alcohol, just because like I need a detox pretty bad. I've been like a fat drunk slob for many years now. So
that's true. We've all been thinking that and feeling it and saying it a lot.
Your back and in front of your face.
A lot on the pod. You're just kind of doing what we're all thinking. So we're proud of you, and
thank you.
We'll see how long this lasts. Hopefully at the end of the week.
Yeah, so I bought a bunch of non-alcoholic beverages that I can sip on, locales. So yeah, this is Meta Moon Prime Logan Paul.
Verdict?
Not bad.
What does it taste like? Glacier Freeze or Frost Gatorade, something like that?
Very similar. Yes.
Yeah, they all taste the same. I like vitamin water. It tastes slightly different than Gatorade. Supposedly it's healthier.
10% coconut water, and so it got 20 calories. So, yeah, review 7.8 out of 10.
Okay, nice, man.
Not bad.
I'm drinking Essentia water.
Nice. That's super rich. That's even above Smart Water, isn't it?
Yeah, it's smarter because it's Essentia. Essentia, if you're listening to this pod, and let's face it, you probably are. If you want to sponsor us, I'm a big supporter of this. My wife and I buy it on the reg, so feel free to throw us a couple bucks, and I'll do a lot more creative stuff than I'm doing right now.
info@sheffieldshuffler.com. Feel free to email us whenever you need. Take it away, John.
Well, we got some topics for today. We've talked about the MLB rules a lot. I'm not going to rehash them. I think at this point we all know them. They've increased stolen bases. They've increased the pace of play. Everyone likes them except for you. But what I want to talk about is that they've changed a lot of things for the better. But what they have not changed is the strikeout rate. So people are still trying to hit home runs just because it can create the most value. And it's again quickened games, but strikeout rates have not budged at all. And there's a lot of advanced analysis on why this is happening. They've tried to mitigate this with shifts and different types of things, but still people are still with that uppercut swing, launch angle, trying to hit home runs, and really don't care about strikeouts. And I've been thinking about this for a long time, that if you really and the other reason is because pitching is just unbelievable. People go into a lab, they look at your hand, they look at your dexterity, they look at how your fingers move. One of the reasons Pedro Martinez was such a phenomenal pitcher, aside from the God-given gifts that he had, but his fingers were really long and they could bend like almost backwards. So he would get just ridiculous amount. a lot of torque, just ridiculous amount of spin, not just with his breaking ball, but his devastating changeup, sort of like Devin Williams, which he's got huge hands and really pronates pretty proficiently the changeup, which acts like a splitter almost. It just dives out of the zone. So pitching has become so good, and you're able to create pitchers. You don't even have to draft a pitcher. You can just look for their mechanics, their build, their genetic makeup, and then be like, okay, great. They have the makeup to create an ungodly breaking ball or a sweeper or something like this. We will make a pitcher. Therefore, strikeouts continue to increase because people are still trying to hit home runs. And even with the shifts, it's not really encouraging a lot of contact, even though time and time again, and we've talked about this on the pod, the Astros, been in the World Series, 3 or 4 out of the last 5 years or something like that. They're always tops in the majors with making contact. So making contact is correlated to success in this game, yet a lot of people don't do it. One, the biggest problem is you're not really compensated for it. You're compensated for hitting home runs. But they're talking about it, and the biggest thing I think they have to do, because people are still going to throw hard, people are still going to have great spin rates, they're going to have to move back the mound. I just don't see any other way.
For what reason?
To give hitters more time. We've changed a bunch of rules, but what you can't change is like a reaction time. You can't change reaction time. If someone's throwing 100, the faster you throw, the harder it is to hit. That is still remains true, like it did back in the 1920s. Whoever throws the hardest, it is really, really hard to hit.
How about the fatter pitchers nowadays that are being rushed because of the pitch clock? They've said Alek Manoah has got off to a slow start. Heavier pitchers who maybe not be in like the best physical condition.
Steve Stone said Lance Lynn wasn't performing well because he was overweight and he should eat a salad.
Right, and that's not true. It's not 100% correlated, but it could be partially correlated to the pace of the game is now moving quicker. Your cardiovascular endurance is going to be affected, and your pitch, like how it is, John. Like you have time to gather, think about your pitches, what I'm going to throw next, take a lap around the mound. So I think that does play a role in it for some pitchers, even if they're not overweight or chubby or whatever. But just pitchers' rhythms. Some guys like to get the ball and go. Mark Burley, quick, and he was fine. But I think that does play a role in it.
I agree. My question to you is, I think you have to move the mound back. What do you think would decrease the strikeout rate? What do you think they could do?
Yeah, I mean that's definitely if that's what they're trying to do. If they're trying
that's my opinion. Like that's what I think. I think they're going to have to move the mound back because people are going to continue to throw absolute gas, and there's nothing you can do about it. And, so they've tried to lower the maximum number of pitchers on an active roster from 13 to 12 because it would encourage pitchers to pace themselves and throw at maximum effort less often. Right. The latter measure seems to offer a whole host of potential benefits, from reducing strikeouts to keeping starters in game to preventing injuries. But so that's what I think. Do you agree that moving the mound back will decrease strikeouts and encourage more contact? Yes or no?
100%.
Yeah, I think it's going. That's the only way it's going to happen. They could do all the shifts in the world. They're even talking about this pie chart where it's restricting position players even more, where they can't even go up the middle anymore. Sure. Like you can't cross second base, but you can go really up the middle. They're not even going to allow them to do that. So I think they're going to have to move the mound back. It's just a matter of time because people are only throwing harder and calculating spin. It's just so hard to hit.
Yeah, so. You're just messing with the fabric of the game at that point because strikeouts are a part of the game, and I
understand. But not at this rate though. At this rate, it's the highest they've ever been, and they keep going up. Like that's not always how the game was played.
Because the game used to be played with painters and plumbers, and now you have athletes who are 20.
You have driveline. Absolutely. Yeah, so you have to change it. You have to change it. Like Bob Gibson was unhittable. They had to lower the mound because it was impossible to hit.
If, as a league, you want to decrease strikeouts, then Yeah, but I like strikeouts. I like good pitchers, overpowering pitchers.
So do I. But they're trying to create more action in the game. I think they're going to have to do it. All right, moving on. We don't talk a lot about NBA here, but recent issues with the NBA. Suns owner Matt Ishbia. There was a Suns Nuggets game last night. Nikola Jokic grabbed the ball and lightly touched the owner, who was sitting like courtside with the fans. And it was a little shiver, but it was a definite flop by the owner. So I want to talk about, if you owned a team, would you be an owner who would sit with the fans? Like, would you be a Mark Cuban type or a Matt Ishbia, or would you prefer to be up in your luxury suite? What type of owner would you be?
I'd like to be on the floor. I think
every game.
Not every game. Not every game. I'd like to have like the Theo Epstein being up in there, kind of, camera pans to you. But I would like to be involved if I owned a team, because a lot of these people that own the teams, John, aren't fans. And you've seen it. Like the Oakland A's have an owner who isn't a fan of the game of baseball.
Right.
They treat it as a business, and the product shows exactly.
Yes.
So if you have people who are fans of the game and want it to run it the correct way, you want to be as successful as possible. Hey, what can I get you guys? Is everything good? Like clubhouse, like we need this on them. Got to fix this on the field. Whatever it is, like you want to be involved in your investment to make it the best product as possible.
Absolutely. So when I was reading the book, David Kaplan wrote a book called The Plan, which essentially talks about how the Cubs rebuilt everything to win a World Series. And it's a lot of, Theo Epstein and building position players and acquiring pitchers. But Kaplan really, and I listened to an interview after I read the book, and he's right. He goes, the real hero in that story is Tom Ricketts. He goes, Ricketts made all of that possible. And when I think about owners, I
wouldn't say hero.
I do. But but this is what it takes to have a winning culture. You have to want to win, and for example, I just listened to an interview with Matt Ishbia. He talked on this podcast. He just acquired the Suns as the owner and the Mercury. He goes, my real estate business makes a ton of money. He goes, I'm an owner. Like, this is a vanity play. Like, I'm the owner of the Suns because it's something fun that I want to do, and I want to win. I'm competitive. I played for Tom Izzo at Michigan State. Like, I want to win. I'm a fan of the game, and I'm doing this for fun. I don't need to do this to make money. Right. Knowing, because he's smart, just like Ricketts, that if you win by proxy, you make more money. You make the most money if you win. And that's what Ricketts did. Ricketts was, a business school guy. I think he went to, somewhere in Northwestern. He met his wife out in the bleachers, whatever. He was a fan. He already had money. He didn't take this job to make money. He took it because he was a fan and he wanted to win.
Wasn't it Daddy's money, though?
It was Daddy's money. Daddy created TD Ameritrade. So it really wasn't his money. It was his dad's money. Sure. But credit to him, no one else for 108 years came to the north side and was like, hey, I want to win here. They were like, oh, great. WGN, north side, old style. We're going to make money hand over fist, regardless if we're good or not. Yeah. And they did that for years until a fan came in and said, you know what? I want to fucking win. And that's the type of owner that I want. But I also want an owner that doesn't need this team. Like, that's why Steve Cohen is great, because that dude has all the money in the world, and he bought the Mets because he wants to fucking win. Right. He wants to win, and he will spend money to win. And that's what fans want. Fans want an owner that cares about winning, and that's what I love about this. So,
not treat it as a restaurant.
Absolutely,
they're going to make money regardless.
Right,
but if you don't put the money on the field, you're not going to win.
100%. But I don't want an owner taking over. I want them to own a team for the right reasons. Like, if they're owning a sports team to make money, that's not a good sign. That's a really bad sign, because then there's gonna be a lot of decisions that are not gonna be best for the team. They're gonna be decisions based on increasing shareholder profit or making profit, and that's not what you want to do.
That's why I'm critical of Ricketts now, because after they got the championship, very, very.
It's completely changed. After they won, it's completely changed. He's on carte blanche. He can do whatever he wants. He can do whatever he wants.
It's not Wrigleyville anymore. It's Wrigley World now. Now it's a monstrosity and $1 million hotels and bowling alleys. It's completely different. It's not the neighborhood that it used to be. So
absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, after you remember, like in the I graduated college in 2009, and I remember the early 2010s. It was a very affordable place. That's where you would go after you graduated college.
That's where I lived.
That's where you would live. I lived there too, and it was very affordable. And even as every year's the 2010s, as they got better, rent got higher and higher. Mm-hmm. Now, someone graduating college could never live in that area. It's completely priced out. Yeah. Now it's a much better area. It was definitely way more run down and shitty dive bars around the stadium, but it definitely had character, and it was fun, and it was definitely a place that we were able to hang out. But to Ricketts' credit, he did it. He accomplished something that hadn't been done in 108 years, and now he's focused on a profit. It doesn't matter now. So, all right, moving on. Speaking of the Cubs, former Cubs catcher Willson Contreras has been apparently so bad. Well, the Cardinals suck, obviously. Bad. But particularly, we talked about last pod about the Cardinals.
Right now.
Right now. The Cardinals not being good because their starting staff was just horrendous. Basically, everyone had they had a team ERA over 5. Like Michaelis, Matz, they all suck. And I guess that the consensus was that Willson Contreras was so bad at catching and so bad at calling a game and managing that pitching staff, working with the pitchers. He was so bad at that they relegated him to a DH, which he is during the series against the Cubs they're playing right now. And, of course, Madden came on MLB Network and defended him, of course. But are you surprised that this happened when they're paying a guy $87 million to be their starting catcher, taking over for a legend, Yadier Molina? Are you surprised that they made this move and that they made it this quickly with 1 week into May?
100%. I mean, he went there to replace Yadi, right? And Yadi is what? Yadi's your heartbeat. Yadi's your leader. He's your catcher. He's probably going to go on to manage at some point. You brought him. The Cardinals brought him there, and especially being in the same division, it's hard to kind of get a catcher or get a player who's in that division, won a World Series with a team, and then draw him to a rival in the same division. So you brought him there for that decision. I'm very surprised that it happened this early, because what does that tell you? How bad it must have been if they pulled the trigger that early and said, hey, this is not working out. This is not good. We need to change this and save face and just let him hit. But that's what you brought him there for. And as a Cubs fan, and when he played with the Cubs, he was very good at that. They had very good rapport with the pitchers. From what we saw, I didn't hear anything that pointed otherwise. So very surprising.
He was young. He was young back then too. Sure. I think he's got a little bit more vocal, and it's kind of like I don't want to make anything about Aaron Rodgers, but it was like Rodgers. People didn't really know how kind of crazy Rodgers was. He kind of was younger. And then as he got older, had more success, got more confidence, he's like, oh, I believe in UFOs. And you're like, wait, what?
My girlfriend's a witch.
And you're like, wait a minute, what? Mm-hmm. You're just like, whoa, hold on a second. And I think that's kind of what's happening with Willson Contreras. But
I wish him nothing but the worst from now on.
Yeah, absolutely.
From what he said, he was when he left the Cubs, and he was like, I like this organization better. It's a better organization.
Yeah.
All right, buddy. Good luck. See you later.
Right. Yep, absolutely. So, speaking of, sticking with baseball and talking about sports betting, obviously, right up your alley, the Alabama baseball coach, Brad Bohannon, was fired after link to suspicious bets. So, this is interesting, and I can't believe it took this long to happen. So, he has been relieved of his duties. was fired Thursday amidst a widespread investigation into suspicious betting activity on the Crimson Tide's games against LSU 6 days ago. By the way, he betted against his team, so he bet on his team to lose.
Probably put out a shit lineup.
So check this out. Alabama's schedule starting pitcher, Luke Holman, was scratched before the LSU game because of back tightness and was replaced by sophomore Hagan Banks, who hadn't started a game since March 16th. LSU won the game 8-6. The OCCC was alerted to this alleged activity Friday by the Las Vegas, firm that gaming commission, basically, that monitors this stuff. And they were like, this is unusual. Like, some pretty large bets are happening on this college baseball game. So the SEC contacted them, and basically Indiana gaming regulations were also alerted to the suspicious bets. He is gone.
Were there any dollar amounts associated with it?
It's a great question. I'm sure there are.
So although you are a head coach for an SEC baseball team,
it was significant. I'm trying to find them out. Yeah. Go ahead.
Well, I'm sure. I'm just curious at the dollar amounts of what it would be, because obviously not that many people bet on college baseball, and the amount of the money that goes into that kind of would lift would be a red flag if it's hit a certain amount. But I mean, even what, $10,000? I don't think that's raising any flags. It'd have to be more than, wouldn't you say more than 10 G's that would raise flags? But it's like, who's putting this money up? It sounds like some kind of scheme.
Yeah. Wait, explain that. What do you mean a scheme? Like someone else is in on it?
How much does a coach make? LSU head coach.
I think he was making $450,000 a year.
Really?
Yeah. College
Almost
D1.
half a mil?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I remember reading that. Yeah.
Okay.
Because he had quite the salary. Yeah.
Right.
But yeah, he's gone, and with sports betting, that's not going to be the last time this happens.
There's got to be some. Is there going to be any jail time associated with that, or is it just you're going to lose your job and that's it, or can you go to jail? Do we know?
I don't think we know yet.
No.
I think they're still investigating. He had been with Alabama since 2017. He was 166 and 124 with one NCAA tournament appearance in 21. They were 30 and 15 this year. College, yeah, and I think that's the other thing. Regular season, and this is what tipped him off. Regular season college baseball does not typically attract significant betting interest or large wagers.
Right.
So he's fucking stupid. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Do it small and do it in small increments and do it over, the whole season.
But now that betting is legal, that's the kind of stuff that can get caught on real quick, right?
Of course.
Back that 10 years ago, that would have never got caught. So you can send some guy to the booth in Vegas, Atlantic City, whatever, put a wager in, and that would be it.
Yeah. No, for sure. So kind of, I think this would not be the last time we talk about a story like this.
Well, and I told you, University of Iowa just happened the same thing. So I don't know if they're correlated, connected, or what, but I think we're going to hear more about that sometime soon as well.
Something that you are going to be happy about, probably not now since you're in your detox phase, but the Brewers are reversing course on their beer sales. They are extending beer sales through the 8th inning, which in Milwaukee, I think none of us are surprised by that. The Brewers were among a handful of teams that extended beer sales through the 8th inning in response to the shorter games this season following the pitch clock's, arrival. And, starting with their game tonight against the Dodgers, the Brewers are going back. The Brewers are reversing course.
Yeah, I mean, I see no problem with that. Again, it's about making money. Also, that stadium, you pretty much can just drive there. There's nothing around for you to, like, walk around and go do.
There's a lot of tailgating there, too. There's some great tailgating at Miller Park, or I guess Great American Ballpark, or whatever the hell it's called now. But it's a blast. Like, I've tailgated there. I went to the second game ever in history at Miller Park. They were playing the Reds. It was like a Friday night, the first game, and I think Griffey had a home run. He was with the Reds, and then I went the next day with my dad and his like work trip, and I got this like really cool Milwaukee Brewers hat with like the opening like logo on the side. It was pretty sweet.
Yeah.
It had like Jeff Jenkins and Jeremy Burnitz and Ben Sheets.
Scott Sexton.
Richie Sexton.
Richie, sorry. I know a guy named Scotty Sexton. Maybe, I don't know. Anywho,
making up players. All right, cool. All right, so moving on to a couple topics you talked about. So Oakland A's announcer.
Yeah, I want to talk about that.
Oakland A's. Do you wanna run this? Or you want me to pitch it to you?
Go ahead, pitch it.
So the Oakland A's suck, and that's putting it lightly. They're playing in a disintegrating ballpark with possums everywhere. And adding insult to injury, their announcer, Glen Kuiper, said a racial slur on the air. Spoiler alert, he said the N-word, obviously, which we will not share. And he said it pretty casually. And then we were talking before the pod about this and something that you wanted to talk about. And then I went on. Go ahead.
I was going to say, let's give it some context before just saying he's saying the N-word.
He was talking about the Negro Leagues.
Right. And in talking about the Negro Leagues, he put together Negro Leagues with Major Leagues, right? That's what it sounded like. My point was, I don't think this was it wasn't intentional, obviously. He meant to say Negro Leagues, and then he put that together with Major Leagues or something, and it came out with a hard R.
Okay. So he was talking about the Negro Leagues. Then he said the N-word leagues. Okay. And I'll have to disagree with you. If that word slips out, then you are most likely referencing that or using that every so often or occasionally. So one, that's not great. And then two, so I went on Twitter, you put this on the agenda, and I wanted to talk about it. And then number two, I went on Twitter and went back in the archives and found another instance from the 2020 season where he said it before. So this is not the first time he used the N-word live on air, right, which I can't believe he still has a job. This is the second time he said it. And just Google Glen Kuiper slur on Twitter, and it's literally the second thing, and hit top, and it's the second thing that pops up. I'm not going to play it, obviously, but he's a repeat offender. So my thing is, one, he's done it before, so that's one thing. And then two, if you're saying that word, you're probably using it. You're probably using it either in special circles or you're referencing it sometime. Either way, it's not great, and it's not something the A's really need at this point.
I say words all the time that I mix one word with another one. Like, oh, gruel or whatever. I'm like, oh, I meant to say cool and great at the same time and blah, blah, blah. I don't think it was on purpose. Granted, I could be wrong, but
I don't think I'm like okay, yes. Like I know you think it's am I saying he's a terrible person that should be like no, of course I don't think he's like a terrible person, but I am saying that I think he's saying that word when he's off the air. I think he's using it.
Yeah, just when he said it, he didn't get read or like think about it. I don't know. I just,
All right, moving on. Derek Jeter had a baby, a legend, had a baby boy. I don't even know how to pronounce his name. Caius?
Yeah, or Case, something like that.
Case Green Jeter was born Friday, May 5th. They shared that on Instagram. Congrats to the Jeters. Baby. Yep. And I think he has all girls, so
he does.
He's probably pretty pumped about that. Sticking with the Yankees Gerrit Cole revealed.
Will we see Derek Jeter's son in Major League Baseball?
Probably not. It's like winning a lottery. I mean, I don't know. You do see a lot of former players' sons.
Yeah.
In the major leagues.
Carl Crawford Jr., Ken Griffey Jr.,
Tony Gwynn Jr. By the way, I was listening to a late my late night Angels, Padres, Dodgers watching in bed before I go to sleep. Tony Gwynn Jr. sounds exactly like his dad.
It's got like that southern kind of twang.
It's crazy. If you were literally, I'd be like, oh, that's Tony Gwynn. Yep. That came back from the dead is like very broadcasting this game. Boys. I mean, it's crazy how much they sound like each other. Yeah. It's a little scary. So Yankees Gerrit Cole reveals all-time MLB dream pitching rotation. Nolan Ryan, Justin Verlander, Randy Johnson, Greg Maddux. The four pitchers whom Cole listed combined for 35 All-Star appearances and 12 Cy Youngs. Who would be your dream 5-man pitching rotation?
John, how many of those Cy Youngs did Nolan Ryan contribute to that?
Didn't he win? I think he won 7, right?
He won 0.
Oh, he threw 7. He threw 7 no-hitters. That's it.
He has 0.
He threw 7 no-hitters. How did he never win a Cy Young?
That just shows you how stupid that award is. Well, it's not a stupid award, but it's pretty freaking ridiculous that he played for like 3 decades and he never won one. That is a phenomenal list. Obviously, Gerrit Cole was included in that list, so he only got to choose 4. Mm-hmm. But that was my question to you: is who do you think got snubbed? Is that an all-time list? For me, that's an all-time list right there. I mean, it's pretty nasty. I think you could move Justin Verlander. I think Verlander could be substituted out with someone else that you preferred. But Nolan Ryan, Randy Johnson, Greg Maddux. Especially Greg Maddux gives you a different look. And I think that's what Gerrit Cole said when he was picking. You had to have a lefty in there. You had to have someone that was going to give you a different look. And Greg Maddux obviously dots you up with change-ups, off-speeds, changing levels, while you got flamethrowers in there as well. But I think if anyone's going to be switched out, it would be Verlander for me. What about you?
So, Randy Johnson I'm keeping. He's arguably the greatest left-handed pitcher of all time. You could talk about Steve Carlton. So, I'm keeping Randy Johnson, and I'm keeping Maddux because those two pitchers pitch different than anyone else. No one was like Randy Johnson, and no one else was like Greg Maddux. There are certain pitchers that, you know, even Verlander and Nolan Ryan, like big fastballs with big-time breaking balls. But we've never seen another pitcher quite like Greg Maddux, and we've never seen another left-handed pitcher like Randy Johnson. I think they are quite unique. So I would keep those two. Are we doing a 5-man rotation or just 4?
5-man. Yeah, you could replace Gerrit Cole, I guess.
Okay, I'm replacing Gerrit. I'm not putting Gerrit Cole on that list. So my dream: Maddux, Randy Johnson.
It's hard.
I don't like him. I don't like him at all. Like, I really don't want to put him on there. Like Roger Clemens. I don't know how he's not on there.
Yeah.
I don't like him at all, but I feel like I have to mention him, probably because he's not going to get in the Hall of Fame. Pedro Martinez. I think Pedro Martinez was phenomenal.
Yeah. It's hard to put people on there that we haven't seen as well. Like, you know, like our parents or people older than us would argue Bob Gibson should be on there as well.
Yes,
I never got to see him pitch, so like I can't attest to it. Like, I believe you. I've seen the numbers. Like, I know Bob Gibson, great pitcher, but I never got to witness it.
Right. Greg Maddux, absolutely but Randy Johnson, yes. Pedro Martinez, yes. You got to put Clemens on there. Mm-hmm. And also, I was going to say Sandy Koufax, but I don't think he had a long enough career. And probably Bob Gibson. I mean, considering, I've seen so many documentaries about him, but just the fact that, like, he, a two-time Cy Young winner, World Series champion, 1968 MVP, like, and he still owns the record for lowest single-season ERA. And they had to lower the mound because of him. So I'm going Gibson, Maddox, Johnson, Pedro Martinez, and begrudgingly Roger Clemens. Just because he won 7 Cy Youngs.
Yeah.
I think, right? Didn't he? Didn't Clemens win 7 Cy Youngs?
I think so.
I'm pretty sure he did.
The same amount that Brady won.
Man, I can't believe Nolan Ryan never won a Cy Young.
Yeah,
that makes 0 sense.
And it's a travesty.
Wow, I can't believe it.
Watch that documentary on Netflix if you haven't on Nolan Ryan.
What about Facing Him?
Facing Nolan? Yeah, I loved it.
Is it good?
Oh, I loved it. So good.
I just watched a documentary about Willie Mays on HBO, which was really good.
I didn't watch it, so.
And then the one on Amazon Prime about Reggie Jackson, which was also interesting. Last thing you had on here before we'll get to the AI topic. Prosecutors, former Bills punter Matt Ariza wasn't present during alleged gang rape. You want to expand upon that?
Yeah, so this is what pisses me off, okay? So anybody can say anything, right? Everyone can say, oh, John did this, John did that, right? It gets in the newspaper. Your name, John, dragged through the mud. You lose your job. You were fired. This guy was fired. He was a punter for the Bills because of rape allegations. Very serious allegations. I mean, that's, something you don't mess around with. Like, that's terrible. So someone can say anything. Your name dragged through the mud. You're automatically presumed guilty, usually in the public eye. I know that really doesn't matter, but it does because you lose your job. Your name is stained. All this kind of happens, right? That happened, 8 months ago? So then you go through all these court proceedings to find out this guy wasn't even present during this non-consensual sexual encounter, right? And there's a bunch of details in here. I'm not going to go into it. He had, he was with this girl, and what they were doing was consensual, and blah, blah, blah. And you can see her testimony and what she said to friends, and there's some very graphic language of how she was talking that would paint her in a much different light. But matter of the fact is he was gone an hour before this stuff happened. Video evidence kind of proved that. Talking with people at the party, blah, blah, blah. Anywho, you go through all that. So now it's up to everyone else to figure out, like, oh, this guy wasn't prosecuted, blah, blah, blah. Now he has to build his name back up, and kind of his reputation was tarnished because it's always connected to that anytime you Google his name. My thing is, John, there's a lot of girls, and here it is. A lot of girls are going to go after athletes because they have money, right? They're going to say things that aren't true, blah, blah, blah. But where is the justice, or where is the punishment for people wrongfully accusing others of serious crimes, right? Because the way I see it, Derrick Rose was accused of rape. Patrick Kane was accused of rape. I'm not saying, from what I saw, none of them went to court. There was mishandlings with evidence and blah, blah, blah. So I want to see girls that falsely accuse athletes, or any man for that period, to have some kind of, what do you call it? Some kind of punishment for wrongfully accusing or wrongfully accusing somebody of a heinous crime.
Yeah, no, I totally get where you're coming from. He was accused of this, and he wasn't even there, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's just the accusation. I mean, there are no repercussions for the accusations, right?
Accuser,
Anyone can,
right?
Yeah, you can accuse something of anything, and if it comes up nothing, then you don't get what you want, but that person has their reputation tarnished. So obviously that's...
And I think that's something that needs to be changed because that is messed up.
I agree. I want to get to our last bit. So I don't know if anyone has been paying attention, but AI is coming for us all. This is a AI American beer commercial that was made, and basically synthetic summer is a machine learning interpretation, and this is what it interpreted like an American beer advertisement to look like. So essentially, this is what computers think that human beings are like. Now, obviously,
looks like you're on mushrooms. It looks like you're on mushrooms.
Right. It's super weird. It's not quite like, obviously they don't get it like perfectly. It's like, but for a first pass at a beer commercial for a computer, one, it's embarrassing to think that like this is what they think like Americans are would enjoy, like someone would buy beer for, which is pretty accurate. Like that's pretty much what beer commercials look like. So that doesn't speak well to like how smart and evolved humans are if this is what AI can come up with. Now, obviously, it's a bit off, but I'm unbelievably fascinated and impressed that the first pass, this is what came up. And I bring that up because I want to talk about the writer's strike in LA. So basically, the writers have stopped working in LA. I have a couple friends who are a couple actors and writers in the LA area, and they're striking right now. And one of the many reasons that they're striking is just because of adequate pay. They basically pay writers nothing, and studios are trying to figure out how they can do things cheaper. And one of the stipulations that they're negotiating, because they're still trying to negotiate, but the studios and the writers are very far apart. The WGA, the Writers Guild of America. So the Writers Guild of America came to the studios and said, "Hey, we want a written agreement that you will not use any sort of AI generated technology to produce television scripts or movie scripts and things like that." And they responded, "We will revisit it every year for advancing technologies." So they're like, the both sides are very far apart. They're not even close. And my buddy said, really what they want to do is put a bunch of scripts into this AI algorithm and have it churn out scripts. And it's going to come.
Do that?
But no, they can't. But they're going to be able to do it. But what it's going to do is going to come out like this. So it's going to come out that if you're writing anything, the first draft is the hardest. Like the first original thought, just getting your thoughts down on paper, it's the hardest thing. And then you rewrite and you tweak. But the first draft is always the hardest. Writing something from nothing. And what they want to do is they don't want to pay them any salary. They want everyone to just be like a freelancer. So they want to take these AI scripts that they're putting in all this information. Okay, here's like 10 episodes of The Office. It churns out an AI version of The Office. I'm just using The Office as an example. And then they don't hire a staff of writers to do anything. They just hire a couple freelancers to rewrite it to sort of humanize it. So they're essentially like replacing the job, the occupation, the vocation. And so it made me think like, and I talked to him too. He goes, "We'll win this one." He goes, "The writers won the last one in 07, 08. He goes, we'll win this one." He goes, "But I'm worried about the next one in like 15, 20 years." He goes, "That's why we are trying to put it in the agreement that they can never use technology to replace human beings."
Well, they better get in line, man, because every job is going to be affected by it. They're already scanning for cancers and tumors in people's body, and doctors won't have to read printouts or anything like that. It's the same kind of thing. Here's 1,000 copies. Here's where the tumor is, and now you have artificial intelligence saying, "Boop, there's a tumor. Boop, there." And now you don't even need that. So everybody no matter what field you're in, is going to be affected by it.
Yeah, Mark Cuban's been talking about that for years. He's like AI. He goes, that's going to be the biggest thing. He goes, AI will be the biggest thing since the internet. It's like, oh my God. He goes, it will affect. He goes, it'll affect some jobs. He goes, it will also create new jobs.
Yeah.
But I remember him saying he goes the leaders of tomorrow. He goes, because everything's going to be automated. AI is going to do a lot for you. You're not going to need to know math at all because it's all going to be in a platform to do it for you.
Productive.
Exactly. Like you're not going to have to do that. He goes, the future, like Steve Jobs of the world, he goes, are going to be like philosophy majors and English majors. He goes, because they're going to be the only people, or history majors, they're going to be the only people that have a sense of history or have a unique thought or, can be a storyteller or something like that. He goes, math, that will be figured out. He goes, even coding. He goes, you have Squarespace, you can do drag and drop tools, even Canva with graphic design, like that sort of thing. But like an original creative thought, like still needs to be put in that machine. So that will never be able to be outsourced. He goes, they're going to be starving artists for a while, but once AI comes along, he goes, those philosophy majors and English majors and people that have personality and are good storytellers, those are the people that, because they will have grown up using these technology platforms, so they'll just know how to use them because they've grown up with them. They will be able to take their storytelling and their personality and their ideas into these AI machines. So I thought that was interesting.
Yeah. We'll see if history teachers will still be around.
Yeah, or just be like, hey, just watch this, go on YouTube and watch this documentary on World War II.
Google it.
Yeah. I mean, seriously.
They're already obsolete.
It's crazy. It's crazy. I think if you a history major, I wouldn't even talk about the dates. It'd be like, you can Google all that, but like, what's the meaning? Like, what have we learned from history? What not to do? What things to avoid? I think, all the dates and people, you could Google that, but I think history majors would have to come. But again, like taking like a storyteller, like telling a story. And I think that's something that they'll never be able to replace. But this commercial just killed me. But I was also fascinated by it to be like, wow, that's pretty good on a first pass. I mean, it's weird and it's
it's wonky.
Obviously it's wonky, but for a first pass,
hey, that blonde's not too bad, right?
It's pretty good.
They're representing
diversity. I mean, look at that. They're representing
diversity.
It's obviously that they're not getting that right, but like that's an easy tweak. So for a first pass, I thought that was incredible.
Down beer, dude.
Is that hard for you to watch since you can't drink beer right now?
Not at all.
Just have more of that. What was that drink called?
Prime. Yeah, it's not bad. It tastes like medicine a little bit.
In addition to Essentia, Prime, if you're listening, and again, you are, obviously, please sponsor us. We have a lot of sponsors that are dying for us to plug their stuff, but we're
waiting
very...
for the right ones.
We're just waiting for the right one. We're very choosy. So, give us a call. Send us an email. Shoot us. Our DMs are open.
Definitely. All right, John, that is episode 3.
Sweet, man.
Okay.
Go Birds.
Go Birds.
Sorry about your Phillies, man. I don't know what's happening.
Yeah. I mean, it's very similar to last season. They were mediocre. They were 500, mediocre the entire season. Then they caught fire in the postseason, and it was magical. So it is what it is. I went to the game on Friday. Oh, my God. We didn't even talk about this, dude. Went to the game on Friday. A guy fell over into the bullpen.
Dude, I heard about that. I heard about that on ESPN. They didn't show it. What happened?
Dude.
So he was reaching for a ball or something, or was he drunk?
It was the first inning, and the game just started, and then they held it off for like 10 minutes. Someone in the Red Sox bullpen
tossed him a ball,
threw a ball up to him. It fell on the plants, like the flowers, and he went over, tumbled over, fell. I mean, that's a drop, dude. Yeah. It is a drop. So he went all the way down. I don't know if you saw him. He got taken out on a stretcher. His eye was all like busted up and swollen. But the guy was crying. I think it was the guy that threw him the ball, whoever it was in the bullpen, one of the Red Sox staff members. It was bad, dude. Everyone was like, what is going on? And everyone's, speculating in the stands. They're like, I think someone had a heart attack. It was the pitching coach for the Red Sox had a heart attack in the bullpen. And we're like, what? He fell over. And then it was like the fan went over. He's like, oh, he was drunk. Crazy. I've never seen anything like that. And then, John, they go to, the Jumbotron. They have everybody on the Jumbotron. They're going around. And this is like probably 6th inning. This girl gets on there. She's pretty smoking hot. Woo, shirt up.
She flashed him?
Flashed him. She had her bra on. But still, it was just like, oh my gosh. I was like, this game's got everything. It was nuts.
Oh, man. What a great.
I believe it. I was like, this is a family. I thought this was a family.
I thought this was a family show.
Yeah. No, it was.
Turns out
awesome.
It's a peep show.
Yep. All right. Well, hopefully I'll have some more information.
For sure, man.
Yeah.
We had our first softball game doubleheader. We lost, but I did get 4 hits, which was good.
Oh,
I did have one error at third base, but I did make a double play at first base. So, and then we practice this week, so we have our games on Tuesday nights. So I'll report back. We got to get back. We got to get some wins. So we have to be 2-2.
Did you see that video I posted of that kid just hitting piss missiles over third base?
No.
Oh, my God. It was a softball kid, and he was just rocketing balls right at third base, dude. I mean, you can hear you just hear them whizzing by.
Do you play soft? Do you have a softball team in Philly?
I am applying to one right now, actually.
Oh, sweet, dude.
Because I don't know anybody, so I have to apply as a free.
But that's me. That's me too. I'm on the rant. So I'm on the like the Naperville Park District, rando team.
Bad News Bears.
Yeah, essentially. Yeah. But there's dude, there's been fights on the text thread. Like people, I guess there's like so much drama going on. And one guy on my team who's pretty cool, he actually does listen to this podcast because I told him about it, but he's not one of these people on our team. But like, dude, they are pissed and they're not happy with their positions. So now we have to have like a team meeting to be like, all right, they want to play this position. They're going to play for the first couple innings. We'll rotate.
That sounds very Naperville, John.
Yeah, it is. But I think my feeling is the majority of the team kind of knows like who's good and who isn't, and I feel like they will appease these couple people, and then if we lose again, they're gonna be like, fuck it, here's the lineup, and this is where everyone's playing, and we'll rotate you one at bat, but that's it.
Well, usually there's a captain or a manager,
and the captain's hard. Yeah, everyone hates the captain, but this captain wants to win.
League manager.
Yeah, and he's trying to be nice right now, but he was so mad that we lost both games, and he also this killed me too, that people someone's wife accidentally got added to the text thread, and he is like, no wives allowed. He's like, get these wives off our text thread.
Yeah.
I know, it's so weird. So we're called the Misfits now instead of the Naperville Park District team because it sucks. It's like District 5 with the Mighty Ducks. I told my buddy who's the one guy on my team who listens to this podcast, I said, I really want to be the no wives club, but I feel like if I pitch that this guy's going to fucking flip out and I will never get playing time. So
yeah,
I just privately for you, me, just and our massive audience.
Yeah, just fly under the radar, John.
Yeah.
Just play third base, contribute your hits. That's it.
It's hard to fly under the radar when you're ripping, getting 4 hits in a doubleheader. So
when you were born to fly high,
and you pitch the second game, but didn't get any defensive support. whatever. I'm not bitter. It's fine.
Clearly.
Not a big deal. I'm not bitter about it. Not bitter about it at all. Just throwing perfect ground balls and not making plays. So, can't give team extra outs.
You're not supposed to, at least.
No. But
all right,
we're going to rate the shit. All right, buddy.
All right,
we'll
guys.
talk to you next
Thanks
week,
for watching. We'll be back next week.
Peace.
Bye.